Hello friends, today I'll be giving you my thoughts and rating for Wee Man of Ash and Shadow by H.L. Tinsley. Wee Man of Ash and Shadow is Holly Tinsley's debut novel and was published in October of 2020. I also think it's important to mention that I'll be referring to the author as Holly Tinsley, but on the book is H.L. Tinsley. So if you're looking to purchase this book online, you want to search for H.L. Tinsley, not Holly Tinsley. If you would like to learn more about Holly Tinsley, her work, her experiences, how she tracks the different worlds that she builds with her spreadsheets, how to recover from strenuous exercise, check out our conversation video that I'll link above. That conversation is available to watch here on YouTube or on all podcasting platforms. I'll leave the links down below. From the Buzzsprout site, you can go to any one of the podcasting platforms. Just pick the one you like and go there, or you can download directly from the Buzzsprout site. Wee Man of Ash and Shadow is classified as adult gaslight grimdark. Now, what the heck is gaslight grimdark? I had the same question. So just think of something like a setting like From Hell with low fantasy, in a nutshell. I've heard lots of people compare Wee Men of Ash and Shadow to something like Peaky Blinders, and I can see where that comparison comes from. The tone, the atmosphere, the setting, the tension in the air, I get it. But I also think that Wee Men of Ash and Shadow is a lot more fun. Sorry, Peaky Blinder fans. If you're familiar with my reviews, I try to give as little about the plot as possible, so I'll try to describe this book in a nutshell without giving too much away. I like to go into books blind, so I try not to give you too much, just enough to let you know, kind of get a general idea what it's about. In this book, we follow John Vanguard. He's an ex-soldier turned mercenary who has a complicated history that we learn about throughout the book. Kind of a broken man, ex-soldier, he's broken down. He's kind of lost hope. He's lost. And he comes to meet Taryn, who is a young man who becomes his protege. Now, from there, the story takes off, and like I said, I don't want to give too much away, but that's the story in a nutshell. They interact with the city that they live in, the town and the city they live in and the society they live in almost become a character of its own, has its own history and its own evolution, and the people in the city and around the city really set the tone. And the other characters in the city aren't just cardboard cutouts. They are interesting, fleshed out, fun characters you want to get to know more about. Whether I'm reading a book or watching a movie, one of the funnest parts of experiencing a story is peeling back those layers little by little as we're meant to experience it from the creator. So I don't give too much away, but there are some unexpected twists and turns, some really fun backstories we learn about, and the atmosphere in this book was so well done that you feel like you're in the city. It's very immersive, and you feel like you live there with these characters. Now, those of you who have been around a little while know that I love flawed characters. I love the characters that walk that gray area, who aren't black or white. They're in the middle somewhere. They're much more intriguing to me, and I don't have to love a character or love their backstory, what they do, for me to be intrigued and immersed into a story. These are the kind of characters you won't necessarily trust. You'll want to keep them at arm's length, but you'd also want them on your side if shit ever hit the fan. Those are the kind of characters we're dealing with. And another mention about the characters that I always love to mention in fantasy reviews whenever I discuss fantasy is that these character names are short and to the point. They're easy to follow. They don't have 15 letters in them. And to me, whenever characters have really long, typical fantasy names that you have to take time to learn how to pronounce, you can't read them out loud. When characters have shorter names that's easy to pronounce and don't have hyphens and 15 letters in them, it makes them feel like real people instead of another run-of-the-mill fantasy character. All the dialogue is very tight and punchy. Whenever a character speaks, you know it's for a reason. And while the characters don't necessarily trust each other, they don't want to give each other too much information to give them any power or any leverage against one another. Whenever someone speaks, you know it's important and it's for a reason. There's meaningful dialogue in this book. Nothing's wasted. And Holly Tinsley does a fantastic job injecting humor into the story. And you can be reading a really intense action scene with lots of things going on. And there's a one-liner that just makes you laugh out loud when you least expect it. And not in an 80s action movie type of way, it's in a clever, droll kind of way. Humor is very tough to pull off in text. A lot of it is about timing. You almost need a little bit of humor in stories like this to break up the bleakness and the darkness. And it doesn't hurt that the book is relatively short for a fantasy book. It comes in at just under 340 pages, so that helps. When I sat down to script this review, and yes, I do script some of them. Hard to believe, I know. But when I sat down to script out this review, I thought, what didn't I like? What are my complaints? And initially, when I finished the book, the only really, because I wrote a couple of thoughts down on my initial when I first finished it, and I think my only complaint at the time was that there was a little bit of time there where the story felt like it dragged a little bit, but it's a very minor complaint, and the story just picks up again at the end. While I was reading, about the first 120 pages or so felt like it was good, but I'm not sure if something clicked with me or with the book, or if there was something, but it just, when you're reading a book and it just feels like it just latches onto you and doesn't want to let go, and it just takes you along for the ride. That's the way I felt for the last 2/3 of the book. So if you can't tell, I had a lot of fun with this one. I'm eagerly awaiting the next book in the series. This is one of my all-time favorite fantasy novels, and Holly Tinsley is now my auto-buy author list. I'm going to give Wee Men of Ash and Shadow 5 squirrels in the jar out of 5. And you may be asking yourself, what the hell does Wee Men of Ash and Shadow even mean? And I asked myself that same question. But while you read the book and when you find out where that comes from and what it means, chef's kiss, mic drop moment, fantastic. Have you read Wee Men of Ash and Shadow? If so, how would you rate it? Thank you for watching. I hope you found this review helpful. We will talk to you soon.